Hello, greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Toolsday Tuesday. And in last week's episode, talked about everyday carry, and in that video, I talked about one of the items I carry, a super knife. So I wanted to show my collection of utility knives, in particular some of the folders that I've collected over the years, and why this one stands out above all the rest. Let's start by showing in chronological order my collection when I started collecting utility knives back in 1984, when I got into the trades. Let's start with the Stanley. This one's model 10-299. And this is a fixed blade design. In order to change the blade, you remove this screw, pull 1/2 off, change out the blade, or rotate the blade. There's also storage available inside the blade. You can store like 5 extra blades inside there. Simple design, it's been around for over 100 years. The problem is it's fixed blade, and it's kind of floppy too. But this fixed blade design can be kind of dangerous, especially if you don't have a dedicated pocket to put this in your tool bag, and it's just floating around in a toolbox. You go rummaging around in your bag or your box, and you can cut fingers pretty easily. You know, I mentioned in last week's video that I had a dedicated pouch, a dedicated pocket in my pouches that I put the utility knife in. And, you know, working throughout the day, and this would get bumped around. Eventually, it cut the threads out of the bottom of the pouch, and then it just fell out, and I lost it anyway. So I ended up getting the next generation of utility knife, and that's very similar in design and ergonomics. Still uses a single screw to retain the 2 halves that holds the blade in place. They changed a little bit here at the front so that the front of the blade would stay tight together so it wouldn't splay and the blade would fall out. But they incorporated a retraction device. Still requires a tool to take the 2 halves apart to change the blade. You can't there's no quick blade disconnect here. And it also has storage space in here for 5 extra blades or so. Well, the next generation incorporated a quick change blade feature. Same type of blade deployment with a thumb slider. But this button here allows you to quickly change the blade without the use of any tools. And then this particular model knife, this is a Stanley 10-788. This also has a blade storage in the handle that allows you to access without the use of any tools. So this is a completely toolless blade change and blade storage knife setup. However, these designs are best suited for tradespeople to be carried in tool bags or tool pouches, and is really not a suitable everyday carry option. And then this company, Super Knife, changed all that. Quite a difference in form factor. You agree? So this design capitalized on the convenience of carrying a pocket knife with the utility of a utility knife. Genius. When this knife came out, nobody was doing that. Now everybody and their brother is doing this. And some of them aren't doing it very well. So let's look at my collection of folders. This is the last knife that I had in my bag. And the type of work I did here in Las Vegas, I really didn't require the use of a utility knife all that often, other than just to sharpen your pencil. But this is the one that I had in my bag when I got out of the trades. And this is I believe this was manufactured for Cobalt by Sheffield. Sheffield still makes this knife, but it's no longer under the Cobalt name. And this is a folder, obviously, with a pocket clip and a storage compartment for extra blade storage. That's why I bought this one, for the extra blade storage. It's a spring back lock And on paper, everything looks good here, except that this retention, this blade retention system is kind of janky. You have this locking tab that allows you to slide this out of the way, change the blade. In theory, that's supposed to retain the blade. The only problem with this is that with utility knives, when I'm using them anyway, I tend to choke up and get right over the blade. You see where my thumb's at. It's very easy to slide that up out of the way, and it's very easy to move this off the blade. And this has gotten so bad that I can almost, see, I can rip that freaking blade out there without even unlocking it. And that's no good. That's not safe. For that reason, the Cobalt's a big fail. But I did use it for, the better part of 10 years. I saw this one at a friend's house in his toolbox, and he had a couple of them, and I said, man, I really like that. And he said, well, here, you can take this one. And this one's not a folder. It slides out of the handle, and it's pretty heavy. I mean, this is got some heft to it. This one's made by Stanley. This is a model 10810. I don't know if they still make these, but I'm sure if you look online, you can find them. If I can find them on Amazon, I'll put a link down in the description. You can maybe buy one through that link. That certainly would help the channel. But this has a little bit better blade removal system, or blade retention system. You have this spring steel on the blade holder. You got to push up on that to get the blade out. And even if you get up on it, I mean, you got to really be pulling up on this to get it to unlock. It's got a good blade retention system. The blade's got some heft. It is still small enough where it could carry in your pocket. If you had a pocket clip, you could carry this in your pocket, and it probably wouldn't be too intrusive. But this has been kind of relegated to toolbox duty. It's the Stanley number 10810. This is one of my favorites. I found this. This is a no brand. I actually got this at Tractor Supply. Made in China, of course. This came in a 2-pack. What caught my eye was the skeletonized scales. And it has a very similar blade lock system to the Stanley. Of course, a thumb stud for deployment. This one deploys pretty easy. It's got a good detent at the bottom, so it won't open up in your pocket. The handle's a little bit longer. Well, it's quite a bit longer, actually. Half an inch anyway, longer than the super knife. And the edges are pretty sharp. This is a pretty basic knife, but it works good. I like it, and I liked it so much I gave the second one of the 2-pack to my friend Martin. Nice little knife, but I can't find them anywhere. I've looked online and I can't find these anywhere. This particular knife is by Gerber. It's marketed as a super knife. Leads me to believe that either Gerber bought out super knife or they bought the rights to the design. It's very similar in size and in design to the original. Gerber also makes a super knife with aluminum scales that gives it the same form factor as the original super knife. I just don't happen to have one right now, I don't think. This incorporates the thumb stud as part of the blade retention system. So you push down on the thumb stud to release the blade. I carried this one for probably about a month, and what I didn't like about it was that the pocket clip is really aggressive. It just pinches down real hard on the scale, which you'd think would be a great idea, except that you can't get it back in your pocket very readily. When you're trying to get this thing in your pocket, the aggressive scales on this non-clip side are fighting you. I mean, they're hard scales, but they have kind of a rubberized feel to them. Like, it's hard to explain. This tends to grip your clothing instead. Like this is obviously, it's aluminum. It'll slide right in and out of your pocket, no problem. This tends to grip your pocket. I'm trying to put this into my left-hand pocket, and I'm fighting this pocket clip. I actually have 2 of these, came in a 2-pack as well. And I took one of these pocket clips and I just yanked on it. And now it's too loose. This didn't pass the test because it's too thick, it's too fat. It doesn't allow me to get things in and out of my pocket with a knife in place. The one saving grace is, though, that the blade lockup is really tight. So, like this one too, is one of the reasons why I like this one so much, is because it's thin, it's lightweight, slides in and out of the pocket good, has decent retention with the pocket clip, but not so much that you can't get it in your pocket. And because it uses a mechanical fastener to retain the blade lockup is really tight. Like I said, everybody and their brother makes these knives now. You know, sometimes you'll buy something that looks good and it catches your eye, and you just don't realize how bad it is until you get it home and start using it. And that's where this one comes in. What caught my eye with this one is this slot here for the string cutter. You can cut string without actually deploying the blade. This is a great idea, and I like having this feature, like kind of seatbelt cutter or a string cutter that can be used without actually deploying the knife. The problem is that if the blade is so much slop in it that it moves that far, it kind of renders this whole thing mute, right? That ain't gonna cut shit. That's the first thing, the blade lockdown. I mean, it's locked, it's got a crossbar here, it won't allow the thing to open. And you gotta push this button to deploy the knife. But even in the fully open position, that blade lockup is terrible. Up here, you got this big button here, you push that and that unlocks the blade, and the blade retention is really sloppy. And like I mentioned, I like to get up on my blades, you know, get up on them, choke up on them, and look where my thumb's at. So I'm inadvertently pushing that button every time I go to grab my knife to cut something. Yeah, this thing really disappointed me. That, and I keep trying to grab the liner lock to fold it, and I gotta push this button. And then of course this cheesy pocket clip. I think I only paid a couple bucks for these. Wasn't worth it. So as of late, there's a lot of companies and there's makers that are making small pocket carry utility knives like this one. This one's made by Outdoor Edge. This is like $15. It's tiny. It's about not that much bigger than the blade itself. So you have this little push bar thing here to deploy the blade. This red button allows you to remove the blade. It's spring loaded, so it'll fall back into the handle when you push the button. This particular example has a Phillips screwdriver on one end, a regular blade screwdriver on the other, a bottle opener, and it incorporated a pocket clip. This actually works great for everyday carry if you don't like carrying a lot of stuff. If you wear blue jeans, you put this in the watch pocket of your blue jeans. If you don't know watch pocket, it's that little pocket on the right-hand side. It's that little pocket you don't know what the hell it's for. That's called a watch pocket. You know, back in the day, you know, even before my time, people used to use pocket watches instead of wrist watches. You put a pocket watch in that pocket, that's what it's for. This fits perfectly in that pocket watch pocket, and you forget it's even there. I think they're available on Amazon. Check in the description. One thing you'll never see me carry is titanium options that are approaching $100 because I'm cheap. But they're out there and they're available. So this is one of the knives that I picked up yesterday. This one's made by Olympia Tools. And first thing that catches your eye is that it's freaking orange as hell. And this has a string cutter in it. And it's got a pocket clip, pretty nice pocket clip. The detent closed is tight enough to where it probably won't open in your pocket. It carries in the tip down position, and it has a liner lock feature. See how this thing is constructed with layers of sheet metal. It's just stamped sheet metal. The blade release button is kind of inset, so you can still get on it. You probably won't inadvertently release the blade unless you intentionally push that button. Not bad. This one's made by Sheffield, and this is going to be the cheapest knife in the bunch. I bought this one at Walmart. I think I paid $3.50 for it. It's entirely constructed from plastic. I don't see any metal parts. Even the pivot looks like it's plastic. So I don't know how well this one's gonna perform over the long run. So it's just this little white button here. You gotta push that in to release the blade. Doesn't inspire a lot of confidence, but for light duty work, this might be a good option. There's no pocket clip on it. It does have a lanyard hole. This actually was featured by Nut and Fancy in his video, and yeah, not a big fan, but hey, if you only got $5, I would gladly take this over this hunk of garbage. And finally, this knife. This one is also made by Outdoor Edge. And this is, at first blush, you'd think, well, that's not a utility knife. That's a regular pocket knife. I got this on sale, guys. It wasn't something I was really interested in. I'd read about it. I'd seen some reviews on it. And what this is a pocket knife with a 3.5-inch replaceable blade. I'm gonna carry this one for a while and see how I like it. I mean, that thing is really sharp. Really sharp. Now I'll carry this one for a while, and if I like it, I'll do a review on it. And if I don't, well, you'll probably never see it again. But this kind of is the best of both worlds. This might be the one that replaces my Kershaw and my utility knife carry. Does the same thing. It even carries in the tip up. So there you have it, fellas. That's just an example of some of the utility knives that I have, and the reason why I like this one the most is because it has a mechanical fastener that retains the blade, and I carry a Leatherman Micra, and that little Phillips screw is no problem for the Leatherman Micra to remove. So, I mean, if you're carrying EDC gear, having a tool to remove a knife blade isn't necessarily a game changer. I just like this form factor better than anything else in here. In terms of quick change blade systems, I think Gerber has the best one, at least in the example that you see here. Gerber has the best blade retention in terms of this blade's locked in and there's no rattle. And that's what I hate about all the rest of them, is that the blade retention systems don't lock that blade in tight. It does not inspire confidence. But like I said, they don't make these anymore. If you can find one, even if you have to pay $45 for it, I don't think you'll regret that purchase until you lose it. So if you made it this far in the video, congratulations. You're part of the 1% that actually sticks through to the end. And if you know anything about YouTube videos, all the good stuff is at the end of the video. And today is no exception. I'm gonna give this knife away. Not because I don't like it, but because I just wanna give one away. So I'm gonna give this one away to one of you guys. Link in the description to my Instagram page. Go to my Instagram page, follow me on Instagram, comment, I want it on Instagram, and next week, I'll give it away. So here we are at the end of another episode of Tools Day Tuesday. If you liked what you saw today, I'd appreciate it if you hammer away at that like button. And if you thought it sucked and it was a waste of your time, click the down button. Either way is okay with me. I would appreciate it if you did one or the other. It's just a good metric to let me know if I'm on point. And another way you can support this channel is if you see anything you like in these videos, go look down in the description. Likely there will be a Amazon affiliate link to that product that you may be interested in. And if you're interested in purchasing that, I'd appreciate if you went through that link. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I just make a little commission on that stuff. And thank you in advance. I appreciate it. Share this video with your vast social media network if you're so inclined. If you got anything to add or any questions, comment down in the comment section. And until next time, you have fun, stay safe, shoot straight, keep your powder dry. Have a splendid day. I'm gonna go cut something. Bye. I'll carry that for the next couple of weeks.